What's up, ego hackers? Back into the studio right now, and it's a new episode. So yeah, just got back from taking a very nice walk and had myself a Laranja. And great news, my favorite Laranja cigars, the creamsicle ones. Oh, they're so good. They are back in stock by my supplier, and I was able to thoroughly enjoy one of those sticks. It's so good. The flavor is exquisite, but I really like the Azulejos. Just the blueberry awesome is epic. But hey, we're not here to talk about cigars. We're here to talk about INTJs. And the question for today is, can INTJs be good engineers? What an epic question. Shout out to Bea for getting me to say epic at least 5 times. And we have 2 out of the 5. Let's see if I can get through the other 3. Bea is a dope dude who hangs out with us on the Discord voice chat on a regular basis. If you folks have not had an opportunity to get onto the Ego Hacker Discord, the link is discord.gg/egohackers. Join it, or you can click the Linktree link below in the video description, as that link has been fixed, and you can join the Discord. We are about to break 1,200 active members in our Discord community. People are typing each other, people are discussing octagram, people are discussing temples, and literally every aspect of Jungian analytical psychology with the interpreted form of four-sides dynamics on a regular basis, and learning how to ego hack each other. It's basically a giant free-for-all, and it's fun and well moderated, and a very excellent location to engage with the community in an active sense. Although if you're like me, you might want to mute the notifications on the server, because every channel notifying you is just insane. But I think we actually did a default setting where it doesn't bother people, so we don't have that problem anymore. But all right, I am back at the epic question. 3 out of 5 for, can INTJs be good engineers? And I just have to balk at this question, because I'm like, I mean, perhaps this Acolyte member hasn't watched much of the private content or very many videos on INTJs, or any of the recent career-related INTJ videos that I have done so far, and I've done plenty this year, like plenty talking about this. So, and this question, can INTJs be good engineers? To which I have to respond naturally with, well, what kind of engineer? Which one? Which engineer are we talking about? Do we have any? Are we talking about a civil engineer, a mechanical engineer, an IT engineer, an engineer in general? I don't know. An engineer that works on what kind of machinery? Yeah, see, I really don't know. So, but let's talk about ingenuity for a second, because I think that is a much more valuable use of our time for this particular episode. So let's talk about worldviews, and the worldview known as the intellectuals, the NT worldview, the worldview that is responsible for the existence of totalitarianism and dictatorships upon the earth, like the Nazi Party. But yes, NTs. We can thank NTs for bringing that to the world. Congratulations, NTs. Y'all played yourselves. No, just kidding. But not really. But that being said, ingenuity is what intuitive thinkers are all about, and INTJs are all about being ingenious, all about having high levels of ingenuity. And that's not to say ENTJs don't. It's not to say that ENTPs don't. That's not to say that INTPs don't. I mean, INTP ingenuity is insanely powerful. That's Elon Musk. That's Albert Einstein. Incredible ingenuity. And you look at ingenuity from an ENTP perspective, that is Steve Jobs. That is Howard Hughes. Amazing, genius all around, right? Genius, and genius is basically a way of expressing ingenuity, right? And ingenuity is what NTs are all about. NT is also known as the intellectuals. Worldviews come from Plato's Republic. If you haven't read Plato's Republic, what do you do with your life? You need to definitely check out the work of Plato's Republic. Plato being an INFJ, who is a student of Socrates, an ENTP, and Plato basically breaks up all of humanity into 4 worldviews, and those 4 worldviews are the guardians, also known as SJs, and then you have the artisans, also known as the SPs. You have the intellectuals or thinkers, also known as the NTs, and you have the idealists, also known as the NFs, right? And the political spectrum matters here because, if the guardians are running society, then you have the good old boys club, also known as oligarchy. It always devolves into oligarchy when guardians are put in charge of society. When artisans are put in charge of society, you get anarchy, or something similar to what's in the film Gangs of New York. Basically, it is gangs, very tribal gangs, or just gangs in general. That is literally what artisans bring politically to the world. NTs bring dictatorship and totalitarianism, and NFs almost always devolve into communism. The point is that no one worldview is correct. So, but why do worldviews matter? It's because in order to really understand INTJs and being ingenious and having really high levels of ingenuity, you have to be able to contrast that ingenuity and their typical behavior as thinkers, as intellectuals, when compared to the other three worldviews. Because INTJs literally, like their purpose in life is ultimately to be a master of any skill. And I've said this many, many times. Their job is to master any skill. And as long as they are focused and practice and remain practiced on that skill, no one will be able to outperform them at that particular skill. So INTJs should have, instead of having a wide repertoire of skills like what ENTPs do, an INTJ should have a small repertoire of skills, focused skills, where they can hone those specific skills because they care so much about those particular skills and they take it to the next level. And that is where their ingenuity is, because they can focus so hard and so harshly on one particular thing at a time that their genius comes out, and that's where they become ingenious, basically, and have that ingenuity that would lead to them being a good engineer, be it in a mechanical, civil, or information technology perspective. So obviously the answer to this question is yes, INTJs can be good engineers. But the reason why or how is because, as I have said a million times on this YouTube channel and on the podcast, that the purpose of the INTJ, the purpose for their existence, is to be the master of any skill. And the thing is, though, is that it's use it or lose it. They have consistently use it or lose it. And it's so funny to me because INTJs all see skills as the same. Like, for example, I have a INTJ on staff, and it's so funny to me because he's like, hey, typing people, it's just like riding a bike. And every INTJ literally sees every skill as just riding a bike. Too bad, like, out of all of the 16 types, they're the only ones with that perspective. They really are the only ones with that perspective, and maybe the ISTP might come close, but it's the INTJ that absolutely has the high level of skillful mastery, natural skillful mastery within themselves. And by the way, if you haven't read Robert Greene's book Mastery and you're an INTJ, what the hell are you doing with your life? Like, literally grow up. Go get an Audible account and listen to Mastery. Oh wait, you can't because your attention span is too low for that. There's no way in hell you'd ever do that because y'all are obsessed with shortcuts. So maybe get a physical copy and just get through the slog. Or you could do what you can and just go to Spark Notes and just read the notes, or whatever that app is that summarizes books, because apparently INTJs don't have time to sit down and read or listen, and it's funny that they really don't, unless it's directly correlating to a specific skill that they're working on. It's so funny because, like, it's always so great, and I'm sitting or standing in a room and I'm the most well-read person there, and I'm surrounded by INTJs, and all the INTJs are like fawning over me, especially like the women. They're all fawning over me because it's like I'm extremely well-read, and they rarely, if ever, read books, which means I'm always like technically their intellectual superior at all times. It's kind of hilarious to me, but however, they are my skillful superior. But the thing is, though, is that I can become insanely skilled to the point where I could actually match their skill levels in certain things with more things. But but that's if they are not focused. If they are, say, focused on those skills, they will maintain their mastery, and there's nothing I could ever do to beat them or outperform them, or anyone would be able to do to outperform them. And that's why, out of the worldview for NTs, the intellectuals worldview, also known as temperament, within that particular temperament, the INTJ is, when it comes to specific skills, no one can out-engineer them. No one has a high level of ingenious. No one can out-ingenuity them. But that would mean that that's the one skill that they're focusing on. As soon as they divert their attention to something else, well, they start losing that skill and it starts decaying. Skills to INTJs decay very quickly because all things decay under entropy. It's just the entropy is a lot faster with them, but they can regain that skill back as soon as they retain their focus. It's all about keeping their focus where it is. So yeah, can INTJs be good engineers? Absolutely, as long as they are focused on being good engineers. And technically, out of all the 16 types, they could be the absolute best engineer, as long as they choose an engineering niche and devote themselves and focus on that specific niche, and no one will be able to out-engineer them. Literally nobody. And that's a fact. That's just kind of how it works. So keep all this in mind when considering INTJs. And also, guys, if you're going to ask me career-related questions, please get into more specifics about specific career things so that I could go on and on about something specific and not so general like this question. This is a very general question, and it kind of ends up being like a total slog for me to get through, especially since career advice is insanely subjective, and I don't have a problem giving career advice. I can absolutely give career advice. The problem is that if I'm lacking introverted sensing experience or anecdotal evidence in terms of specific careers, because sometimes I get really surprised about INTJs with certain career paths. Like, for example, a friend of mine, he's an INTJ. He is subconscious developed, and he's also subconscious focused. He's an SDSF INTJ, and you know what he did? He opened up a bakery truck, and he's a fantastic baker, and that is he has the skill. He hones that skill. He's the master of pastries, right? And he engineers pastries. So that's where his ingenuity is. You see what I'm saying? Like, see, that's the thing about INTJs. They can literally master anything because to an INTJ, like, the skill is like riding a bike, right? And they project on everyone else and they expect everyone else to be as potentially skillful as them, at least in their youth. And then they realize that that's not the case and they realize that they're outperforming other people, but only because they focused on that particular skill, right? So yeah, just if you're going to ask career questions, guys, which I'm fine with, just please make sure that you're adding in specific details, going into a specific niche. I just need more specifics because it's a little too general, and then I end up having to riff based on how general this is, which it just comes with the territory. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.